I'm going to jump into 10.01, and this is the new engagement predecessor auditor review. Now, in this medium file that I have here, all it tells me is that since this is a continuing engagement, the document is not applicable. So this comes back to what we answered in 10.00, where we said this is a continuing engagement and we need to go and in fact, because it's continuing, we don't need to look at last year's auditor because we were last year's auditor. However, clicking over to one of my other example files here, I'm also going to open up 10.01, and here you will see that there are questions in place. Now, the questions here are asking things like who is the previous auditor, what were the reasons. Remember, we need to first get the client's permission to contact the predecessor auditors, and you will see that there is a rather large notice put in here. Prior to communicating with the predecessor auditors, either verbal or letters or email, ensure that you have the client's permission to contact the predecessor auditor. We can't just contact them on our own. If they refuse us access, we have to accept that we cannot contact the predecessor auditor, but we do have to question why that is the case. It could have an impact on whether or not we're actually going to accept that client. Now, if we have the permission, we go and ask the client, what do you say are the reasons you're changing auditor? We speak to the previous auditor, what do you say the reasons are? And we need to weigh that up in terms of whether or not we want to continue with this client. Okay, there are a number of questions reviewing emphasis of matters in the prior year, inquiries with the predecessor auditor. You'll see there's quite a lot of questions in place, and at the end of the day, as the engagement partner, we need to go and consider, based on my knowledge of the prospective client and any factors outlined above, this prospective client should be rated as, and it's giving me a risk profile. So if things are hunky-dory and the client, maybe they decided it was time to rotate and the previous auditor said there are no issues that they can identify that could have caused it, they're happy that it is just a rotation policy of the client, then you would say it's a low risk. Or if there are issues or conflicts or some major issues in the prior year audit report which may have led the client to change auditors, then we need to start increasing our risk profile for this client. So we make that determination. We then have a hyperlink to 10.02, which is asking about prohibitions on whether we can accept this client, specifically around our independence. And then there is a determination at the end of the day, should we accept the engagement or should we decline the engagement? Once again, the assumption is if we get to this point, we probably are going to accept the client. You would have done this determination beforehand, but if you hadn't, and this was the first time that you went through these sort of procedures and you get to this point that we're declining, then this is at least a good working paper to keep on file for yourself for future reference in case anybody comes back and asks you, well, why didn't we accept the client? Then you've got documentary evidence. Also, in this case, because we have said that there is an EQCR required, then there is the requirement for the second partner to also accept this engagement. Okay. All right, that's 10.01. Okay, once again, please indicate that you do accept the engagement if there is a second partner review. Okay, I've now just gone and clicked, I'm signed in as a partner. I've clicked on Set as Partner, and as soon as I do that, you'll see that it inserts my initials and date into this document as well. Some of our clients I know are trying to maintain a more electronic file, and this then gives you an easy way to put in an electronic signature with a partner sign-off, or if you are rather preferring manual, you can print out the document and then just sign off and put the date in manually on this document, depending on your preferences.